Bonjour everybody, so welcome back to another video. Today's first question is, we are now continuing on the explanations of square roots and squares and all that kind of fun, quote-unquote, fun stuff. So our first question is, how can we simplify the square root of n squared if n is negative? Like you guys probably know, the square is a number times itself. So if n is negative, and if a negative times a negative is equivalent to a positive, and the principal root, which is the root that most questions are looking for as their solution, is always greater than or equivalent to 0. So keeping that in mind, if n is negative, so n here is negative, this would be equivalent to because if a negative times a negative is a positive, then the negative of n in this situation would be positive. And once you squared n, even though it is negative, it would still be equivalent to a positive number, which would be the shared square of its positive counterpart, but it would be the negative of our current n, if that makes any sense. So basically, the square root of n squared would be equivalent to negative n squared, since they would both end up with a shared square. And now, if we look at this situation, if we pull out our negative n, we would get a negative n by itself, aka a positive number. However, the reason that we cannot pull out our normal n is because if we're looking for the principal root, that means that we're looking for the positive number, aka the one that is greater than or equivalent to 0. If n is negative, then it is not greater than or equivalent to 0. So the simplified version of this would be negative n. That was a mouthful. Anyway. Question number 2. What values of t satisfy the square root of t squared minus 15, which is equivalent to 7? So you guys see this probably as like a basic algebraic equation. So if I write this out like so, equivalent to 7. But there's a little bit of a twist at the very end that you kind of have to watch out for, because it says what values with an S. Silly little S. So you kind of need to watch out for that. But what values of t satisfy this? If we square both sides in this equation, which is legal, you would get t squared minus 15 is equivalent to 49. If we move the negative 15 to the other side, it would be positive 15 now. So t squared is equivalent to 64. And here is where the twist sort of comes in, because I explained this in a previous video, but like I said, when you multiply two negative numbers together, you get a positive number. And the negative counterpart of t would also share its square, which means that there are two possible solutions for t in this situation. T can be equivalent to positive 8 or negative 8. And this is how you write that. So t is equivalent to positive 8 or negative 8, because negative 8 times negative 8 is also 64. So yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys learned something new, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.